So the horses became our mode of transport, our prime movers in the building of our country. And in the beginning of the industrial age, they became even more so important because they would get the goods to the trains, to the places where things, and to the canalways where goods were being moved in bigger and greater amounts. So as they developed the roads, they had to create better roads, not only for transporting the people, but for the goods to get them there faster, and that's how the asphalt ended up being created for the horses, to create smooth pathways for the horses. Now, you have to think about the industrial age, and if you ever see old footage that we've put up around those periods when they were using horses in cities, there's all this hustle and bustle and people moving here and there, and there wasn't really regulated roadways, and you know, it's just amazing how the traffic moved within urban areas and even out on the roads coming in and out of cities. Just bustle and hustle and things moving and money being made and our country growing, and a lot like what's going on with the internet today was going on in a physical way in our country in the industrial age. And the horse was really the prime mover during that period. So you go from all this activity and movement and horses here, and at one point there was a stagecoach company here in the Northeast that had 50,000 horses. They owned 50,000 horses because the horses needed to be changed out at every 12 miles. They'd run them, change them out, and so this one company having like 300 miles stretch of road, they had all these horses engaged to run all this traffic, and of course these stagecoach companies would compete to have the mail express contracts, because if you had the mail express contract on your coach, people knew you would get to your place on time. So roads had to be refinished for the horses to move their things. So we have all that activity, all this going on with the horses, and then we have the automobile, which came into the scene, and people slowly relinquishing and going the way of the automobile. And I should say that took many years for people to get accustomed to, because people didn't want to let go of their horses. They knew their horses better. They didn't really understand these motorized vehicles. But after the First World War, and if you saw the war horse, you saw how horses were used in that. We sent 1 million of our horses over to fight in that war. Only 200 came back to our country. So we lost a lot of our horses during that time, and so that was even a greater reason to go towards the automobiles. And once people started adjusting to the automobiles, it became a question of class even, and you were almost looked down upon if you were still driving your horses around. So by the 30s and 40s, horse traffic was pretty much gone, and then by the 50s, I would say we're the last real holdouts with using their horses. And of course, still today, there are people that have never let go of their horses and are still using their horses. And now there's this whole resurgence of organic farmers who are using animal power. So it's re-emerging now in our culture in a really beautiful way, because we're being faced with this question of sustainability. But the carriage people and the job and the service that they provide, they are really the last place where you can find this piece of ourselves from the industrial age, where we were growing and becoming all that we are. That link still to that period of time when we were in this incredible time of growth. And these carriages that are in cities, they're doing a job that was always done there. There are horses that grew up in cities. Our horse Bud has only ever lived really in a city. He knows the city. He doesn't really like farms. So, horses, like any companion animal, they have adjusted to being in that city in the same way that we have. And if, the criticism is that it's not good for a horse, well, then I would argue it's not good for us either to live in polluted places. We need to work on all these issues, not just for the horses' sake, but for our own sakes too. And if it's not good for us horses to be in congested traffic, well, then we need to address that. Maybe perhaps have fewer cars in the urban areas. But anyway, why this is so important to Blue Star is because it matters to our American culture. We believe, really quite seriously, that we keep hold of this tradition, because it's a link to who we are, what we are, and these people that are doing it are important people in our culture, and that they want to do this job, and they want to keep this connection with their working equine partners. And what's going on in New York City is this huge battle where it could possibly be that the anti-carriage people win and carriages are kicked out of that city. And if that were to happen, we we imagine that it could happen in other cities as well. And all of a sudden, our horses would be pushed farther away from us, our public horses. We'd have less of a connection to our horses. You know, at Blue Star we say that we are all horse people because 100 years ago it's true. We all had horses in our families. We all owned horses. There was one horse to every 3 people at one point in our history at around 1900s. So, you know, we believe horses belong with us. They're here, we've bred them, we've created them, we need them to be involved in our lives. They're amazing companion animals. We don't want them pushed farther and farther away from us. You know, there's the argument that they should be set free to roam free. Well, most horses I know don't want anything to do with being set free. They don't know how to take care of themselves in the wilderness. And those that are out in the wilderness have half the life expectancy of the horses that are domesticated and taken care of by humans. So I think that's a silly argument. And right now, those wild horses are being run off the lands that they're on. And they're also ending up in tragic circumstances where they're, you know, held in these feedlots and then shipped to slaughter. And I mean, that's a whole other realm of huge problem that we need to creatively solve and talk about. So as Americans, as people, as concerned citizens, we need our horses to remain with us, among us, and we need to make space for that. We're responsible for them, and it isn't just the horse owners that are responsible. It's also all of us that care at all about our American tradition and our history. So that's why for Blue Star this is important. This whole month we're going to be focused on the importance of this work. And then on March 31st, there's going to be a huge gathering of carriage people from all over the country are coming in support of the New York carriage horses. On Saturday evening, there's going to be a benefit in Blue Star's honor, which we're really thrilled about and honored for. And we're looking so forward to meeting all these wonderful horse and carriage people. And then on that following Sunday, we're going to be all standing out there in support of the horses, because typically on Sundays is when the anti-carriage people come and scream and act crazy about, you know, how evil and abusive this is. So through this month I want to just share all that we can, so that to give all the kind of understanding that a person would need to be real clear about why this is not a bad thing for horses at all, and why actually it's a really important thing to keep a hold of, because it is also not only a piece of our cultural heritage, it's also possibly a solution going forward. And we need more people to be working with horses, not less people. And we need our horses to be better taken care of, and we need to understand all the different ways that we can do that. So I just wanted to share that with you. Today had wanted to get the carriage ready and get the horses ready and show you what that was like and be a day in the life of a carriage driver, but that's going to have to be tomorrow. So today I just wanted to go over why this is so important. I felt it would be better maybe to talk about it rather than write it all out. So, and then you also get to see some of our herd here. And they're all on their way in to dinner, so there's not so many of them right now. So that's that, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.